podcast is meant for a mature adult audience. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to another edition of On a Quest. I'm Jill Urchak, your host, questing everything. I'm a nosy lady. I want to know about things I can't see more so than about things I can. I'm interested in God, light, spirits, angels, hauntings, all of that good stuff, UFOs, and I'll even throw Bigfoot in there. So this is the kind of show that I'm doing for those that listen. I want to know everything. I'm already getting laughed at, and I think that's a good sign. I was lucky enough to stumble upon, and I say that very nicely, Michelle Motherella Piper. And it was your mother, your lovely mother, Michelle. Welcome to the show that gave me your information.
Thank you for Jill very much for having me.
Sure.
I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you.
She was so cute because, you know, when Facebook went to Messenger, I was using a different app for the longest time because people at first were saying, don't use Messenger. I don't know why. So then I went in there and I had like 6 messages and I thought, who are these people? And then I was like, oh my God, somebody actually responded to my request on Facebook. So thank your mother for me. Please.
I will definitely. You know our moms. And the funny thing is I don't even have Messenger. So she made me go ahead and follow up after that.
Oh, that's even cuter. She's looking out for her daughter, but she was sweet to do that.
Yes.
So, Michelle, I read on your site, you have a beautiful site, by the way. It's very well done.
Thank you.
That you have been psychic forever. But I have to laugh because you're all the clairs. Clairvoyant.
I am all 6.
I don't even know what they are. I know clairvoyant, is it audient? Audient?
I think, they're very long words. And so for the lay term words, I can hear spirit, I can see spirit, I can feel another person's feelings, I can see past, present, future. I'm an empath, I'm an intuitive, I can smell, I can taste. So I kind of have all the senses that we would normally say to each other in the human body. Right. But in the clair senses where it's more intuitive.
Obviously, you grew up this way, but at what point do you remember the defining moment where you thought, you mean not everybody sees, I don't know, like Sacagawea from way back when? Am I the only one seeing her standing above your head? I mean, was there one point where you I couldn't think of another name. Was there any point?
That's a good one.
Thank you, Sacagawea. See, I remember my grammar school history. Is there any point, do you remember the defining point where you thought, what do you mean you're not seeing that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm 6 years old.
Okay, what was it?
I remember the day as clear as day.
Tell me about it.
So I had always had the sense of seeing spirit in earthbound form, and they kind of have this shadowing around them. And when I was younger, I was always afraid to kind of let people know. I was very young. I was only 5, 6 years old.
Aww.
I probably started seeing even younger, but because of that age, and I was an only child, and, you're kind of coming into your own at that age, with social life, with school and stuff.
Sure.
I kind of got a little bit, apprehensive on telling anybody that I was seeing these types of things. And the house that we were living in was actually my grandmother's home, and we lived up in an attic. We were very poor when I was young, so we lived upstairs to kind of make ends meet, and we had redone the upstairs apartment, and we had moved in there. And right when we got into the house, I'm telling you, it was like Flint. I mean, it was crazy. I had spirits coming out from all ends of the earth,
Ooh.
Every area, up the stairs, down the stairs, in the attic. Well, the biggest thing that slam dunked it for me was when I was laying in bed and I saw this shadow, if you will, in these pink tiles. Like my bedroom door was facing the pink tiles in the kitchen.
Okay.
And I saw the shadow kind of coming, and I was so fearful and just so stuck in my bed. I could not move. And I saw the shadow moving, and I'm like, what in the hell is this? And I just remember it so vividly at 6. It's so strange because I'm 47 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
And they were pulling this baby, like in between the tiles, if you will. Like I saw this child going in and out of the tiles. And I'm thinking, okay, it's my imagination. I'm young. I must be daydreaming. You kind of try to wake up when these types of things happen. And all of a sudden, as this child's getting pulled, I remember feeling very suffocating. like very suffocated.
Okay.
And I'm like, what do you want? Who are you? What do you want? Who's this child? And it was a little girl, and she says to me, I'm your sister.
Ooh, my hair's standing up, girlfriend.
I know. Tell me about it. And I'm like, my sister? And she goes, yes, I'm Lisa. And I'm like, what? I don't have a sister. I'm 6 years old,
Yeah.
I remember just get away from me, screaming. I jumped up. I ran into my mom's bed, and my mom's like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And I'm like, I had a nightmare. She's like, oh my God, sleep in my bed. Well, the next morning when we went downstairs for breakfast by my grandmother, my Nana actually, I looked at her and she goes, what was that dream about? What happened? What scared you? And I looked at her and I said, am I adopted? And she's like, what? And I said, am I adopted? And she said, absolutely not. Why would you ask me that? I said, because my sister Lisa came to me, and my mother, I'll never forget the look on my mother's face. So my mother had a stillbirth 2 years before I was born.
Stillbirth, not a miscarriage, a stillbirth. Ugh.
And she had suffocated she was strangulated by the umbilical cord. It was wrapped too many times around.
That's so sad.
And so that was the symbolism of this figure showing me my sister and the whole suffocated feeling and pulling between the tiles and screaming the name and coming to me. So that was really what kind of did it for me. It was then, and I kind of just knew.
Yeah, it's not something you brush off and say, well, the fact that you felt, first you saw it, then you're like, who the heck is Lisa? And I mean, that's terrifying at any age, especially a 6-year-old. And your mom obviously didn't tell you that. What is she going to say at the breakfast table when you're 5? Honey, that's not a dinner conversation you have at that age. So your poor mother must have been as white as a ghost. I mean, no pun intended.
Oh, she was, yeah. And she was devastated that I had the name. I mean, how would I have known they were going to name her Lisa Elizabeth? That was the baby's name. Like I said, she had delivered past 40 weeks.
That's so sad.
And I still to this day go see visit the grave at Queen of the Heaven Cemetery. So
tell your mom I'm going to have to email your mom. We're BFFs now. Tell her I'm sorry. No, but
she's going to love that.
She's going to love that one, right? That is a terrible story, but so.
It's terrible in a way that I had to find out like that. But for me, it really turned my gift on for me at that age. And I kind of had more experiences after that occurred, like multiple. And then for me, I actually look back now and I'm very grateful that it happened in the way I did.
Okay.
The way it did.
Well, can you help them move on? Spirits?
I can help them cross. It's tricky though, because I know this sounds crazy, Jill, but I just got to tell you how you do it. I mean, here's what I'm going to tell you. I hear what I hear. I see what I see.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what people's opinions are. I usually shut them down. I'm like, I don't care what people think.
Sure.
I don't care what they feel, if I'm making it up or not, because I'm not.
Right.
I hear what I hear and I see what I see. Mm-hmm. So when these spirits come through and I'm channeling people for family members who've lost a loved one professionally in my career, I've been doing this 10 plus years as a professional. So when they came to me and I kind of help them get the message out. And once the message is out, we can help them cross. However, what I've noticed in the course of my career, Jill, is that I've had to help them cross more than one time, which is really odd.
The same person?
Because multiple family members or other people that didn't see me, they still had messages for them.
Oh, so they don't want to leave.
Those people didn't come. Yeah. Those people didn't come in a group. So when they came individually, I'm like, how is this even possible? And over the course of my career, I started realizing that, oh my God, they have more messages for their family.
That's crazy.
So here I'm thinking that, isn't it?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. No, I just think it's crazy how, here I'm helping them to get their message out and go over into the light. And then another family member might show, and then I can see them again in the same form, maybe with a little bit more white light around them, and then they come to me and they'll have another message.
Now, is it true, okay, let's say a family of 5 lost somebody and they all came to you, like you said, individually. The first one, you think they're crossing over, they're into the light and they're having a dandy old time in heaven. Then the second sibling comes along, says, I want to talk to mom. Does it bother the spirit to keep coming back? Because I thought I do a lot of reading and that doesn't mean anything.
Yes.
This is where my questing comes into play. Oh, go ahead.
That's a very good question, because I do know that a lot of the books talk about these spirits in ways that have been more defined by someone who's an author or someone who's had the experience or someone who has written a book. And I don't know about you, Jill, but I just feel like in this industry, everyone has their gifts differently.
Sure.
We all have it in our own unique way. And so that may be true, but for me, in my profession, I've never had it where it's been like an unsettling experience. The only time it's been unsettling is when I'm not able to have them cross because they've either not crossed over because they can't, because maybe like they took their own life.
Okay.
And it was before their time. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. I mean, wouldn't that be purgatory, or did they just choose to stay here because they're afraid they're going to go to hell? Is that it?
I think they do sometimes choose to stay here, but I actually feel like they're confused. Sometimes I don't even know, Jill. I swear, sometimes I don't even know if they know they're dead.
Yeah, I get that from my ghost adventures and ghost hunters, but no, seriously, that is completely overwhelming to me. How do they not know? I realize if you die suddenly, you probably just come out of your body and you're totally confused, but okay, let's say I died suddenly or I killed myself and I didn't know I was dead and you saw me. Wouldn't you tell me, hey, Jill, you're dead? Move on.
So if I was to see you, if you truly did that, here's how the coloring shows to me this is how I kind of decipher where they're at. When they have this white, clear, kind of like a crystal color around them, like an aura, then I know they're over. If they have this very gray, it's kind of like a foggy, if you can imagine a foggy day, that gray color.
Sure.
If they have that gray color kind of, around their spirit form, because I can't always make out the face. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. If they have that gray coloring, then I know they're not over, that there's some sort of message still, they're stuck, they don't realize.
Wow.
And then if I see a very dark aura, I won't even read them.
Yeah.
I shut it down immediately because I can see the negative.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, can you see people's auras now? I mean, just living people?
Living people, yes. But in spirit, it's really interesting how I've developed that over the course of my reading. I feel like the universe just kept intuitively developing me more and more and more on my own, because I started noticing things that changed in my visions. They show me like a movie reel. Even the spirits show me like a movie reel in my head. But when they're coming through, when they have this aura around them, it's so quick for me to tell where they're at by the coloring.
So, yeah, that was my next question. I mean, I like Halloween. I like to get spooked. I like to get scared, but I really don't. I'm like all talk and no action kind of thing. I think I like the thrill of the mystery, but I admit that freely, Michelle.
Oh, my God, that's so cool.
It's so me. I go on ghost tours. I'm like, yeah, this is so exciting. And then I'm like, oh, now I got to watch King of Queens all night just to stay awake. But, I need a little comedy.
And I do this for a living. I got news for you. I can get very spooked at times myself.
You have?
When I have my ghost spirit box hunting. Yep.
Well, you have to. I mean, that's my question. Of course, I don't have any gifts, but do you, when you see?
I'm sure you do.
The only thing I'll say I have is I'm very intuitive, and I have strong hunches. I feel. I don't. What am I trying to say? I just know what I know. And it's not really anything, but there could be somebody standing there buying milk at Jewel. And if I could feel like that person's bad or not just by looking at them, but I really don't have any gifts.
That's great. So that's good. That's a positive.
That is 9 times out of 10, I'm right. And that one time when I'm wrong, I'm way wrong. But when you see the, I mean, I admit that I'm way wrong on occasion, but when you see the black, how do you shut that down? How did you learn to shut that down? Because that's creepy.
I actually didn't know in the beginning. I had a very, very tough time in my early 30s shutting them down. A lot of bad nights, a lot of bad sleeps. It was very tough at nighttime for me for many, many years. And then one day I got really angry. I remember, again, like you say, we always remember these times that just kind of changed our life, if you will, overnight.
Yeah.
And I remember the situation happened that I was laying in bed, and all of a sudden my picture I just literally had flown off the wall. And it was immediately following my divorce from my first husband.
Oh.
And I remember going to bed and saying to myself in my head, oh my gosh, I'm his grandmother, who my daughter's named after, would not be happy about this. And as soon as I said that before bed, you know, I don't even remember what the situation was, but I remember going to sleep. The kids were sleeping. And it was like an airplane had came through my house. And I have a big fireplace, and this huge picture of the kids was above it. And when I tell you, Jill, it flew, there's no way it just fell and kind of fell on the floor and cracked.
I believe you.
It was over the couch, like literally over the couch.
Force.
Shattered glass everywhere. I jumped up. I screamed. I thought somebody broke in. I ran down the stairs. And here this picture is destroyed. Oh. Like literally destroyed. And right there is when I was like, that's it. I'm done. Don't wake me up. You're not welcome here. Whatever you're trying to do, stay away from my kids. I went and got some sage because I'm real big on sage and cleansing my home all the time.
Okay.
So I cleansed me. I cleansed the house. And I literally said, don't you ever come back to bother me, my children, or this home again. And I called in Archangel Michael. I asked him to come and bring in the light. And I kind of I do Reiki as well. I do healing and intuitive like imagery. So I was able to pull a white light around my home and really cleanse the space intuitively and with meditation. And right after that, it kind of really slowed down for me.
Because I've heard people say, you know, tell it to leave you alone. Say it outside, say it out loud.
Yep.
Or say it outside and mean it. That they usually listen.
I've had clients fly in to see me from out of state, and some clients even from here who came in for that type of situation where they are feeling like their body was taken over by the spirit. And I don't use the word exorcism ever. I know that there's a religion who believes in that. I don't treat this as a religion. My job is to hear and see the other side. I was born and raised Catholic, but I am a spiritual, intuitive healer. And so I try not to take spins of words that are negative or connotation. I try to get to the reality of what the energy is. I teach a lot in my lectures and my seminars about energy. So I try to say, when these clients come in and kind of want to feel like this spirit kind of is using their body here on earth, which you and I both know just from your history of knowing all this, that can happen. I always explain to them that they must have had low vibration or low energy where this energetic source is kind of feeding off them, or they're using their human body to get a message across. But I don't believe that it can truly be like I don't feel like I need to do it as an exorcism. And most of the time, like you said, Jill, it works.
Right.
If you tell them to leave.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of sage and cleansing.
Sage. Okay, I have a sage candle. Does that count? One time?
Yeah, I would. Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if it's strong enough.
No, it's sage and citrus, probably not. But I get, and I've mentioned this on my previous shows, I get a lot of messages on license plates. Now, I tell my husband, I had another license plate give me a message, and he's like, that's nice, Jill. You know, he's probably like, that's awesome. Good. You know, but I know it's not, I don't believe in coincidences. That's just me. And being at the right place and seeing a license plate, if you're going through something that's literally geared towards you, it's just, to me, that just doesn't happen. So I always think they're messages from God or angels or spirits. And they
you're
come.
Absolutely right.
Okay, because not always. 9 times out of 10, I know when they're for me. And then I could see one that's just kind of a fluke. It was weird when I was pregnant, but I wasn't sure I was pregnant. I was waiting to actually go to the doctor to get it confirmed because 5,000 sticks just don't tell me I'm pregnant. Yeah. And I was I was driving in to work, you know, because I got pregnant at 42 after I was married for like a day. And it was wonderful because everyone's like, you're not going to get pregnant. You're old. I'm like, you know, bite me. Speak for yourself. But I was driving into work and all I've ever wanted to be was a mom. And I was like, God, you know, I remember waiting for the appointment. And I was like, gotta give me a sign. Please give me a sign. And I saw a bumper sticker that said pregnant ? And I've never seen that before. Why would you see
I never have either.
No, and I never have again. Pregnant ?
Okay, so that's like a synchronized event.
Which I love. Go ahead, talk about that, because I love that stuff.
So I teach a lot to my clients that, you see, first of all, when I'm doing their readings, I get names for validation, but I also give them numbers. And most of the time the numbers actually, before they even say anything, match a loved one from the afterlife, or could just be a spiritual number that represents them. But I teach you guys that when you're in the synchronized kind of flow with the universe and you're in this high vibration, these signs that you just spoke of, such as pregnant ? Is like 99% accurate. You and I both know there's no way that could pop up when you're thinking whether or not you're pregnant waiting at an appointment. So license plates are great ways to validate either when you're trying to ask questions to a loved one, or you're trying to get validation if something's about to happen, or you just want to know people that you love are around, or if you want to know spirits around. So that is a great way to kind of validate your thinking and kind of know that spirit's there with you.
And you were saying about numbers too, because numbers, I've been inundated with 2s and 4s. I've always been a 111, 11, 11 girl, but the last 2 or 3 months, 2s and 4s have been like popping up everywhere. 222, 444. And I looked up the angel numbers, and, you know, they're good things, but I was just like, somebody's got to be telling me something, because it's not a coincidence throughout my day, taking care of a 2-year-old, that I happen to be looking up exactly at these moments. It's just. So
here's what I would tell you is try to remember what you were thinking about right before those numbers, just to see what the trigger was. What triggered that number? What triggered spirit to say to you, we're here? So think right back to what you were thinking. Even if it's something silly, like I should go to the store and I don't want to go, but I know I should, and then boom, the number pops up. They're kind of telling you, well, you need to do that.
Yeah, you know, I read that too. I mean, it's funny that you validated that, because I thought, you know, it's like when you're in a daze when you're driving and you've driven 10 minutes and you don't know how you went through stoplights, and you're like, I don't even remember driving. That alone is creepy. But yeah, I have to make a conscious effort to do that, because so many weird things happen like that to me, and I think they mean something. And I talk to people who think I'm crazy. And maybe I am.
They do mean something.
They do. I thought so. I mean, not just saying it once. I'm talking repeatedly. Something is, you know, you have to take note.
Yeah, and you could pull, 1,000 of my clients on right now who will tell you that those numbers definitely, that I've given them through the course of their readings, and I'm talking multiple readings, the numbers always come to be. They always create a sign for them. And like I said, you can ask, I could pull a panel of 1,000 of people right now, and they'll all tell you the same thing, that the numbers are definitely signs, validation, and messages from their loved ones or the spirit. Interesting, because
do you see angels?
I can. Yes,
you can. Do you have to focus on them, or do you just see them?
Almost all of us have them. I have my own angels. You have your own guardian angels. Everyone kind of has their own. Then they're separate from spirit guides.
Right.
I can see those as well too. But I can also see family, you know, like I said, and loved ones who've passed. And then I can also see the stuff that I don't want to see, which is kind of negative at times.
Yeah.
But I have to turn that off when I know it's approaching.
When you see, oh my gosh, my husband just walked in and scared the crap out of me. I'm sorry, Michelle. I heard the door open.
Oh, there's your sign.
Oh my God. Yeah, sorry about that. Hello, I'm not going to edit that out because that's too good. Oh, I hear
that is too good.
I'm like, what the hell is that? When you see
impromptu.
Oh Lord, that's the way I roll. When you see a spirit, it's in your mind, or do you see them like you're seeing a physical person?
So I see spirit as if it's a physical person with a iridescent color to them.
Okay.
So, and I can kind of, I can make out their hair and their clothing and what they're wearing, but sometimes their face is like a blob. And when I'm looking at that, this is, I don't know if you read through my testimonials of the accuracy of my
readings. Did read through a lot of them, yeah.
Did you? Okay,
I did.
So you'll see when I'm seeing spirit in the way that it's almost like a human form sitting in front of us. if I can't see their face or they have this coloring that I'm speaking of, I'll ask them to tell me something I wouldn't know. And they usually give me a message, and then I let the family member know. And they're like, there's no way you would know that.
Right. And see, that's the other thing. How do you not believe that? You know?
Yeah, how do you not believe? I know. I don't have a clue. And they'll tell me stupid stuff. Like, sometimes I look and I record all my readings.
Sure.
And if you hear me, sometimes I'm like, what in the hell are they talking about? Like, and I laugh. Sometimes I'm like, okay, this is not me. This is not my opinion.
Right.
This is not judgment. There's no bias there, but this is what they're saying. And the family just busts out laughing. They're like, here we're supposed to be in this sad, quiet moment, and they bust out laughing because they're like, oh my God, that's exactly what my dad would have said, or that's exactly what my brother would have said. It's just, and it's just crazy. But yes, I do see them very clearly at times, unless, this is really weird too, Jill. This will intrigue you. Sometimes they'll show me themselves with that kind of blob face and that coloring that I just spoke of.
Yeah.
But they'll actually take me to the event of when they died.
So you just, with all your senses, go there.
Yeah.
Oh, and so you feel, do you feel as if they're them dying?
Yeah.
Oh, ew. Ugh.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I just thought you'd be intrigued by that. So sometimes I get very drained because they'll like show me how. And it's not always pleasant. I'm not going to lie.
Well, right.
I'd be lying. I'd be lying if I said it was pleasant all the time. It's not always pleasant to do readings because there's a lot of times I see very negative things, especially if I'm working with clients who've lost someone to murder.
Oh.
And I can see the event.
Yeah.
And they take me to the event. I mean, that's very, very difficult on me.
Oh, well, sure. I mean, plus, well, A, you're human, but B, you're taking in all of the emotions on top of it, which is devastating.
Yeah.
But to them...
But I'm very grateful because I help the family. So I'm so grateful.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, any sort of closure. Life is about closure. There's nothing worse than just not having closure. It's like hard to move forward in a relationship, in anything. Well, at least for me.
Yeah, or just that inner knowing. Like, just the knowing part. Like, if they know, and I keep saying, like, what is my problem today? I'm like a Valley girl. Just
like, oh my God.
Just that inner knowing that their family is around is very comforting for them, and it brings them a lot of peace.
I went to a medium. This was years ago. She was very nice, and we had a party or whatever, and I wanted to know at the time, my husband's, before we were married. Now I'm talking like a Valley girl, like, oh my God, before we were married, totally tubular. I never met his dad. He died a couple months before we actually started dating, and that hit him obviously very hard. So I thought, actually, I don't even think I brought anything up. I just wanted to see what she said. And she read my husband's dad. Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
I heard the name Ralph. Who's Ralph?
Ralph. You know what? I don't know who Ralph is.
Ask your hubby. It's like an old name.
Mark.
I heard the name Ralph around you.
Ralph. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you won't know right away.
Yeah, I know.
Later, you'll be like, oh my God, I know what that is.
Yes, because that's happened to me. So if you hear anything else, just shout it out, girl. But she went on and on about him, and because I'm Catholic and my husband's Jewish. So she started talking in Hebrew or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying to me. She's like, is your husband Jewish? Or your boyfriend at the time? I said, yeah. But anyway, to make a long story short, I came home and I gave him all this information. She said that his favorite comedian was Milton Berle, and it was spot on. I thought I was bringing him comfort, but I didn't, and I felt horrible. I think it was
why didn't you bring him comfort, Joe?
Because he said it was too soon, and I think he just didn't want to believe. Because I think
happens.
Yeah, he wanted his dad around, and he didn't want to know that all these things. And I felt horrible, Michelle, because here I am taking notes, thinking I'm helping him, and I didn't. So, I can understand that. But generally, people seem comforted by it. I made a bad move.
Yeah.
But I meant well. It's funny wait a minute. It's funny that you say Ralph, because I don't know one, but I was thinking of a Ralph today, and I never met this man. I've been at odds with a friend. We haven't spoken in years. I can't pull
that from my bum.
No, but
can't pull that out of the rear end.
It's weird.
I heard it, like I said, when you were talking.
It's weird that you said that, because I worked in the same place as this girl today, and I haven't seen her in years. We had a horrible falling out. We didn't speak. I actually caught eye contact with her for 2 seconds, but a couple hours before we did this show, Michelle, I was like, what was her dad's name? His name was Ralph, and that was on my mind, but I never knew him.
Okay. So that's kind of what I just did. So what I do is, when I'm reading people, they'll tell me something I would have no idea. And it's usually something that's called the trigger word, and I call it the 3-second rule. And if the name that I say pops in your head in 3 seconds, that's usually what they're talking about, who they're talking about, or something surrounding the event of that name or person. And so that shows right there. If you thought about it today and his name was Ralph and you were thinking about it, there's no way. I mean, come on, Ralph. How many Ralphs are there?
Well,
2016. I mean,
yeah.
There's no way.
Well, because I hadn't met him.
Synchronized event.
Yeah, and I was thinking to myself, I was just like, I was really kind of glad we didn't run into each other, because I just didn't want the awkwardness, and let's just lead our pleasant lives and wish each other well and move on. Then I was thinking, because I knew her mom very well, and I was thinking, God, what was her dad's name? It was Ralph. That's so weird. I have a question about reincarnation. Now, I know as a Catholic,
I love this subject.
Yeah. I know as a Catholic, I'm not supposed to believe in it, but I do, because I think it makes sense, and I think your soul goes on to learn. And I feel, and I have no proof of this, obviously, that I'm a very old soul. And the same woman who read me about my husband told me that I had drowned and I was afraid of water. I'm absolutely terrified of water, by the way. And so is my mom. And she said we were together, that we had drowned in the 1800s. And I have no doubt that could have happened, because we're both afraid of water. We have an affinity for the pioneer days, and we don't know why. We just find it fascinating. And I feel like there's multiple lives. But if, let's say, my dad's parents, I never met them. And I'm just going to flat out ask you, and if you don't want to answer me, it's fine. I totally understand. I'm really not looking for a free reading. I just want to get your brain.
Yeah, of course.
Wish I knew them. My dad's an only child, and it just makes me sad that I never got to meet them. And I asked the last medium about them, and she said, I got to be honest with you, I've got nothing. They could have come back. I don't have any reading on them at all. She could have lied and told me a bunch of stuff, but she didn't, which I appreciated. Is that true, number one, that if you're obviously reincarnated, you probably can't read if those people are gone? And then the second question is...
I don't believe that.
You don't believe that? Okay.
I believe in reincarnation, and I believe if the parents you're speaking of have passed, whether they were reincarnated or not, I would still be able to see them.
Do you have to see somebody in person to do this? Are you able to see them through my voice?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm going to look I'm actually going to go through your voice and look right now for you.
Okay.
So just back up real quick, because I have to get into mode real quick. You said you're looking to see if it was the parents from when you were young.
Well, what did
you just say?
My father's parents, I never met them. They died before I was born. I just wonder if they know, like...
Father's parents. Okay, hold on one
Yes.
second. Okay, the first name I'm hearing right away is, to validate that they are around you still, is the name Anna. Who's Anna?
Oh, wow. Okay, now my hair's standing up. That's actually my great-grandmother. We called her Babunya in Ukrainian. Wow.
Okay,
yeah, my hair's...
So Anna is the first name I heard,
Yes.
and the grandfather is speaking with a dialect. So I would have to get my spirit interpreter in my head.
Okay.
Because I don't understand what he's saying. So do you know if I don't feel he spoke fluent English. Do you know if he did?
Well, my great-grandmother didn't. And I don't...
What about this grandfather?
No, he did. He was born here. He was born here.
So because there's someone speaking with like a dialect. and I can't make out what they're saying.
And it's a man?
But Anna's, it's a man.
Okay.
And who's Frank?
Frank.
That's another name I just heard.
I don't know Frank.
But your grandparents are around, and Anna, is that the great grandmother you're asking about?
Mm-hmm. That's my grandfather's mother. Yes.
Grandfather's mother. Oh, that far back. Okay. All right, got it. So I feel they're around. Like I said, this grandfather, if you can ask someone if they knew if one of your grandfather had spoke with a broken English.
Oh, I'm sure.
That'd be great.
I bet you was because I heard, like I said, her name in Ukrainian was Babunya, and I didn't know her husband. So that would be my dad's grandmother. And Anna was like, we stayed there in summers, and I always think about her. Isn't
it? Wow.
Always, Michelle, always. We had such great memories. We never went on vacations as kids. There were 6 of us. So my parents, they did the best they could. And we had a great time there. That was our summer vacation. We went there all the time. Still, it's like I have dreams about her. And
did they live by water? I see water around them.
They, no, they lived in the city. They did not live by water, but
I'm thinking when they were young.
Yeah, Babunya lived in the Ukraine. I don't know if she lived by water. She lived in the Ukraine.
They see a lot of water around them.
Interesting. Okay, because I just wanted to know, like, do my dad's parents even, like, know about me or my son? And
well, they see everything. I mean, our family, even though their past and never met us, they can still go over to the other side and become our guardian angels. I have multiple family who I haven't met that I know are my guardians. And I just know that because I've seen spirit and I've asked them, who are they? And their family. But I've never met them.
Yeah, that's okay. That's pretty cool. I'm still freaking out about the Anna thing just because she was she held it together. She was so cool. We used to beg her for chocolate and she'd shuffle, and she spoke to us, Michelle, in half Ukrainian and half English.
That's so cool.
And so,
look too in your family history. Look for the name. I can't say, because again, this is muffled and it's through like a dialect, but ask someone in your family if there was an Olga.
Oh, I think that was her sister.
Okay, she's passed too, because I see her.
See, and I don't know who that is, but I think that might be,
that might be her sister? Yeah. Check your family tree.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, because I don't know. I always feel like I'm there. I feel like I'm sometimes there, but
that's great.
Is it? Because sometimes I'm like, God, Jill, I hear a song, Michelle, and it takes me back to 1976, and I can remember like I'm almost there again. It's just kind of creepy, but I like it. So I must be weird. But thank you for that. I was just really wondering about my dad's parents because I feel like we missed out, and I just want to know if they are around us. So, but the Anna thing, that would make sense.
You're asking about them, and then they're taking me to all these old people, like these other people, like this Olga and this Anna. It's so funny. See, they do that shit to me all the time. And that's how the family gets, crazed. They're like, "How? There's no way. How did you know those names?" I'm like, I don't know. They keep showing these old people these names to me.
Yeah, I have to. Totally. That thought went in and out. Oh, and I've read this, when you die, you see people that you didn't think you knew, but everybody's family.
Yes.
I've read that
I wrote a book about this.
Oh.
I published a book about, I channeled a child who accidentally committed suicide. His name was Nicholas, 14-year-old child. And I co-wrote the book with his mom. And we published the book, and then it was just a sacred event. And, it was a hardship on the mom who lost this child. And God rest, his soul and bless her heart for losing a son. I could never imagine.
No.
And she found him and everything.
Oh.
So the book is called Two Voices, but I talk in there, Jill, about when I channeled Nicholas and wrote this book, he took me to an area of the afterlife that I've never seen before. Ooh. And again, being raised Catholic, sometimes I had to question what I was seeing.
Okay.
But you said it, you hit it and nailed it right on the head, because there was an area in this vision he kept showing me where there was like this island of people that he knew that he might not have known here on earth. And it's about I write about that in that chapter.
That's just fascinating because, pardon me, I got on near-death experiences once, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? I was just fascinated at all. They were all happy experiences, though, because the people, A, didn't die because they couldn't be writing about it, but B, they all saw people, and they said, I couldn't tell you who they were, but I knew that we were family. Or I couldn't tell you who they were now, but I knew that I knew them.
Yes.
And I guess when my uncle died, literally on his deathbed, my mom told me that he was saying like, oh, look, so-and-so's there. And they were like, he said they were standing almost like on a beach on water and just waving him.
Aww.
Just waving to him like they were waiting for him. And he was so happy that he saw them.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then, and people will say, oh, it was the drugs or whatever. But no, I don't believe that. Mm-mm.
No, I don't believe that either. I think, there's probably a calling or a journey light experience for him.
Well, okay, so you are an amazing woman. What else could you tell me that we may not know? Us mere mortals.
I mean, I don't know. I just, we're all gifted, and, I hope people, kind of work with their intuition and really development. I mean, I'm blessed. Like I said, I've been doing this professionally over 10 years in my business. And, there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of different experiences that can occur. The afterlife is such an unknown sometimes, but yet there's so much validation with people who are true mediums. I mean, you and I both know there's true psychic mediums, and then there's the ones that are just there to steal your money. Yeah. Who just, bullshit their way through.
Right.
Oh my God, we're on the air and I swore.
Oh no, that's okay.
Zap that one out. But, there's so much to learn. And if I had any message to give people, it's just, your family loves you, your loved ones love you. Whether you met them or not, they're there to guide you. And I just hope that people can tap into that and just really, really remember those who've passed, or even if they've taken their life or accidentally died or on an overdose or suicide, they're still spirit form. They're still, spirit. Energy. And they're still around. Right. And so I just hope people keep them in their hearts and keep them in their minds. I mean, we just left the whole 9/11 experience yesterday, and there's a lot of grieving and a lot of sadness around that type of tragic event. And I just hope those families are really tapping into their intuitive side and really kind of, being with spirit and still talking to their loved ones and their family members, asking them for help, asking them to guide them through, and kind of just acknowledging them and know that they love them still and that they're around. So what would you tell somebody who is going through a really hard time, and they really sit there and they talk to God, and, just whether they're talking or saying it in their head, whatever, and really just saying, like, please, 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 just like, I really don't know if I feel you. I want to. How do they open up? What do they do to feel like? Usually what I do is, let's just say you can't feel spirit. Mm-hmm. I usually try, actually I don't even try, I just do it. I'm taking that word out. I give the client something they can leave with, whether it's a number, whether it's a sign. I mean, and I've given them crazy signs, Jill, like I'll say cuckoo clock. I mean, who sees a cuckoo clock? And then I'll get a response back on an email. Holy shit, I walked in this old antique shop and there were 5 cuckoo clocks. Right. So there'll be these little signs that I'll give them, and I'll say, listen, if you can't feel them or you don't feel they're around and you're asking, let's start with something small. Let's develop your intuition by working alongside spirit by giving you a number. And then let's work with that number for a while. And sure as shit, after a few weeks, that number's working. And they'll start, feeling it. And then they'll start feeling like kind of the chills on their back of their head, or their hair stands up on their arm, the goosey bumps. Okay. And they really start to feel their presence. And I think even if they just do it in number form or validation of names, or they just can feel the sense, then right there, I think that's great progress. Well, yeah, because you're either completely blocked or something as small as that. I mean,
the last medium I had on, we were talking about angels, and she said that I had Raphael. She was the second one who told me this on my right. And this was kind of cool. She said, I don't know this angel, Sandalfont or something. And I just thought Sandalfoot because I was thinking of the nylons because I was trying to remember it so I could look it up. I'm like, Sandalfoot nylons. Remember those? So anyway, I looked it up and I was just like, Raphael was the color green or whatever. So I was like, okay, I was kind of praying to him. I'm like, if you're there, touch my shoulder. And if he did, Michelle, I would be running on Cicero Avenue screaming if somebody touched my shoulder. That's what I mean. I'm all talk. But anyway, I was praying on it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, remember your thought. I was praying on it and I'm like, I know you're there. I just really want to, maybe get a little buzz on my shoulder. Well, sure enough, I see a license plate that says green. I'm like, okay, I just read that you were associated with the color green. I'm going to take that as a sign.
Good.
Okay.
I'm glad you did because that's accurate.
What were you going to say?
But if somebody who truly wants to feel them, I'll do a short meditation with them and I'll open their brow and crown chakra.
Okay.
And I'll work through the 6th and 7th chakra with them and I'll kind of balance that out. And I will help them intuitively clear the energy up there and work through that chakra to get that wheel disc spinning again so they can start working towards their intuitive side and higher self. So there's many times if they ask me to do that for them or they say, how do I do it? And I explain that to them and they're willingly going to allow me to work through the meditation with them and balance that chakra out and clear the energy out of it and kind of do a little bit of energy healing through there. Most of the time, you can really unblock yourself.
Yeah, because, I have, you said 3 kids. I have 1 and he's not a napper. So I probably get, if I shower 5 minutes a day and I think, okay, this is where I do all my talking to God, and I'm like, come on, touch my shoulder. Right. I got to shave my legs. So wait till I shave my legs. Sometimes I'm like, I just want 10 minutes to just sit and see if I could,
and you can talk to them anywhere. So that's good. Well, shower, toilet, bed, whatever.
Whatever works. Well, I'm going to have to try to schedule some meeting with you or something and open up my brow. A brow plucking, if you will. Well, third eye
plucking.
My eyebrows are really light. I've never plucked them. People don't believe me. I digress. Yeah, they're like, what do you mean you've never plucked them? I'm like, you can't even see them.
Well, you're lucky.
I draw them in a little. Otherwise, I look kind of strange. But what do you want? Okay, so go ahead. I want you to promote whatever you want to promote because I think, this was a great show. Thank you for being on. I think you're very smart, funny, and really easy to talk to. And I think that's one thing that scares a lot of people. And I read that in the testimonials that you had, that some people, right away, they said they felt very at ease with you. And I think that's part of it because people go in like, is she going to be some voodoo woman with, hanging jewelry, which I would love? They don't know what to expect. So you seem very, very pleasant. And I think, that would bring people to you. Oh, absolutely. So go ahead. The floor is yours, girlfriend.
Well, it's not so much really just the promotion part. I mean, I have my website, Motherella.com. The big thing I would probably say is, I have the most enormous amount of talented, well-developed, healed, and kind of, loving and just great clients that I've had over the course of the years. 10 years, and even my new ones. And I just think that to promote it, for people who really would want to come see me or do a reading, I think the testimonials speak for themselves. So if they go to Motherella.com / or / whatever it's called, testimonials, and read through the actual page that we gave our clients, because my clients wrote paragraphs. They didn't just write 2 sentences. They wrote paragraphs, and we can't fit all the rest of them on that page. I mean, I have, hundreds of them that we slowly try to add on or put on my Facebook page. So if they can't find me on the website, they can go to my Facebook page at Michelle Motherella Piper. I'm also on Twitter at Motherella Medium. So they can find me on social media. I do a lot of Facebook Live. I'm now transitioning, believe it or not, Jill. This is the perfect time for the show, but I had an office for all these years, and we decided, my producer and I decided that we are going to go global October 1st.
Okay.
Because believe it or not, Jill, a lot of my clients don't live in Illinois. I have more clients out of state.
Wow.
So it's not fair that they don't, I know, right? And they don't have access to me. So we're actually moving to open up our online community now and make myself more available to people all over the world,
Sure.
not just in Illinois. So that's coming up in October 1st. So people can go to my website, Motherella.com, and register for our emails and all the newsletters and all the upcoming information. I have a meditation membership starting. I teach a ton of meditation. My clients have been doing it with me for years. And I do guided imagery. We do chakra balancing. We do short meditations, long meditations. And the membership allows them to work through the meditation from the comfort of their own home. If they're in traveling, if they're in a hotel room, if they're in the car, they can use it anywhere. And that's what I'm really happy about this coming up.
Wow. You have a lot to look forward to. That's awesome.
Yes.
Good for you.
And eventually in October, my podcast show will be Living with the Afterlife. That's, we're working towards that for October. So it's Living with the Afterlife podcast.
That I am going to be tuning into. Well, you can find me at AnnaQuest Pod, P-O-D, on Twitter, AnnaQuest Pod, or Jill Urchak, just me, just little old me, U-R-C-H-A-K. But follow the show because I will get a Sasquatch in the next month or so. I think the Bigfoot is out there. I watch Finding Bigfoot. Who are we to say there's no hairy ape walking around? You know what I'm saying? We don't know everything.
Yeah, I hear you.
No, we don't know everything, so that's coming up soon. I could see me putting it on Facebook. Has anybody seen Bigfoot? And then they're going to say, have you been drinking? No.
Yeah,
and then it goes down the line.
your picture next to him.
No, that's my husband. No, my beautiful husband. But Michelle, you've been great. Please follow the show. Get on her website, and hopefully you generate some business from this. I would like to have you on again. If you would like
anytime.
to continue.
This was so much fun. I think the gel here, the laughing, first of all, you're hysterical, and I'm so grateful you chose me. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, you're welcome. I will be BFFing your mother, by the way. I will thank her as well. But
she'll be so happy.
She's cute because the last one I promoted, I was like, I swear I have to just do it in order. She was very happy for them, like, oh, thumbs up. And she's probably like, where's my daughter? She's next, I promise.
Oh my God.
Well, you know what, Michelle, good luck to you. And hopefully this podcast takes off. And Olga and Babunya, I'm pretty sure it's an Olga. And before Anna, Anna was the best. I also had a psychic tell me that she was my guardian angel, Babunya. And maybe that's why she's always on my mind. I don't know. But before we go, I wrote down water because you said that on my mom's side, we've got the family history where they all came from Poland. And they were obviously they came on the boat. And
oh my God, I just got the chills.
You did?
Oh, yeah, I did.
No, I just got them. Okay. Yeah.
That's crazy. See, they were starting to pull me towards very far past a lot of the grandparent era that you wanted to know about. So they were starting to pull me into that realm. So that's awesome. I'm so glad you just remembered that.
I think it went back to 1856. I have to dig it up again, but they came by boat and a poor baby died at sea. It's fascinating information to see how I came about. Yeah. So I think I'm going to check out the Olga, and I'm going to let you know, Michelle, because if it's Babunya's sister, I'm really going to freak out in a good way.
Oh, me too. Yeah, we'll freak out together.
Okay, that's wonderful. And I will have you back. And thank you again. You are Michelle Motherella Piper. I am Jill Urchak. Follow AnnaQuest Pod and have a very spooky night. Goodbye.